Now let's say you need to log in, right?
Yes.
You need to log in, and one aspect of it, now you need a username and password, right? You can have a SSH key as well, right? Any username and password, in username and password, can you control the access of the start time, end time? Getting me? Start time and time, not really. So once you will give me username password and enable my user, okay? If it is a disable is equal to I cannot log in, okay? Until unless I come back and I enable it, right? I can enable it. So similar goes with the SSH keys, okay? Or we can call it a key pair, okay? Now to overcome this, because I cannot put any control, I cannot put any control for my time based access, right? Now when I say the time based access means I want some of my resource to have access with the start time, with the end time, right? And and for the object I provide an access, only that person should access it, okay? So something called shared access signature, okay? Now what I do, if I take, as we are going through the storage part, now I'm having, whenever I create an storage account, right? If you go in access part, in the security, it has two keys, okay? It has two keys. Let me open it. Primary key and the secondary key, okay? Storage account. So you can use either of keys, okay? You can use either of keys for the access of storage. So this is your storage account, right, Tom? You can use any of the keys for this purpose. Now you can use only the keys with your connection string, means the way you want to design, or you can take the entire connection string, okay? The moment you say show keys, you can use the first key or you can use the second key, okay? Now once you give me this particular storage account name and this key, okay, then I can access, I can access anything within this storage account, anything within this account, because this is a username and a password for my this. Now comes to the shared access, okay? Now if you look at this, there is no time, there is no time up to when it should start, when it should end, how many days it should work, nothing like, okay? Only you can put the rotation reminder, means if I do want to rotate my keys for the security purpose, means if you just notice it start with key 7G, if I say rotate key, the current key will become immediately invalid, means wherever you are using this key, the moment you say the rotate key, the previous key will be immediately invalidated, Okay, so this all is having a manual thing for the rotation, granting an access. We do not have any controlled access. To overcome this, as I did mention, I want my start time, my end time, okay, for storage account, for my specific blob, or my specific file. Okay, file, or in blob you can call this an object. Okay, then it becomes an as through the SSA token. How? If I give an example, you take an subscription for any education. Okay, subscription. Let's say simply learn, you have taken a 1 year subscription. So for 1 year, it is having a defined start time, it is having a defined end time, and you will get access through the SAS token. You will get the access through the SAS token, and this SAS token will be used by you. Okay, now we can tightly integrate with system IDs, means strong binding with. Okay, and this cannot be used with any other system, even you have a shared access signature, because those signature are embedded for that particular system only. Like if we do any agent installation, if you remember from yesterday for the backup, okay, backup agent, that backup agent will only work from the server or the client where it is installed, so it becomes an strong binding. If you look at the shared access signature, now if you look at the options here, okay, now you have the options here in in simple access key, you have all these access, you have all these access. But in shared access signature, as I did mention, no, I want to give you only the permission for my blob or for my file share. And in file share also, I want to give you only the read and list access. So if you look at this, becomes a very granular level of access. Getting me? Which is not possible in normal credentials. Okay.
Okay.
And once you generate it, okay, this gives you a complete URL, this connection string, and this you can use for connecting to the file storage only with read and list permission. Whereas if I give you this key, this storage account name, or this key, or this connection string, okay, this connection string, then you can access everything. Is that clear?
Means with the help of access key, we are giving complete access, okay, full permission. But
Yes.
with the help of shared access signature, we can give only what we want. Means
Say use
read, write,
correct.
whatever possible.
You are right, and we do use, if you noticed, the controlled access. Okay, we use the term controlled access. If someone asks you what security control you can put on your storage account, SAS comes one control, right? Shared access signature, another one control. If I someone asks you what other control you can put, I can put other control to have my storage account accessed from the specific or only from the specified network, right? Wrong, another control. So that way we do restrict the access to our critical data. Is that clear?
Yes, yes. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, any other question from anyone?
Budhi sir, can you give me recording privilege?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. You have it, sir. Now you can start the recording. Okay. So let's move on. Now, virtual machine availability. Okay, so virtual machine availability. Can someone tell me what are the availability options we have used it for the virtual machine? We have seen load balancer. We have seen many things, if you remember. What are the availability options comes in your mind as of now? Anyone?
Skill set as well, right?
Yes, you said availability set, right?
Skill set is also part of abilities.
Yeah, so that's for correct. So availability set. Okay, one another.
Availability zone.
That's right. Another.
Load balancer.
Right. So what are these basically? This provides only the availability, the you want to have it your availability. So very simple thing. Yeah. So if we look at virtual machine availability, so why we need an availability? Maintenance and downtime. Okay. Skill sets, availability sets, implementing skill sets, update and fault domain, auto scale, availability zone, implementing auto scale, and scaling concepts, right? So I believe apart from auto scale, right? Though I have given a concept for it, let me know what we have not seen it from this as a practical implementation. Okay. Maintenance versus downtime. Okay. So do you really believe maintenance and downtime are the same thing or a different thing? Maintenance and downtime are the same thing or a different thing?
Maintenance is like a planned one. Downtime is unplanned.
Unplanned one. Correct. So any other input for this? So from the business perspective, if I say maintenance, okay, versus downtime, maintenance period do includes in a SLA part, okay, means if I am taking a SLA for 1 hour, okay, maintenance window for 1 hour, my SLA will not get impacted. Okay, if my system is down for 1 hour, my SLA gets impacted. As Ramesh very rightly said, this becomes an planned, this becomes an unplanned, right? I do say my maintenance window starts on Sunday morning 10 a.m. to evening 6 p.m. right? Now this time will not be decreased from my defined SLA. This is matching my SLA. There could be a scenario even during this period my service provider services was down, but I was doing my maintenance. This was in my maintenance window, right? So this includes in the SLA, but downtime excludes from the SLA. Okay. So when the platform predicts a failure, it will issue an unplanned hardware maintenance event. Okay. Action live migration, hardware failure. Okay. Unexpected downtime is when a virtual machine fails unexpectedly, actions automatically migrate. Okay. Planned maintenance events are periodic updates made to the Azure platform. Okay. This maintenance is there from the Azure. This maintenance is their maintenance window from the client end. Okay. Let's say if I'm using an infrastructure as a service, IaaS, and I need to patch my Windows system or my Oracle database, then I need to have the downtime, the business approved downtime to patch my Windows or my Oracle database. To have availability sets, why we say two or more instances in availability set do meet 99.95% of an SLA. Now, what availability set is? We seen it all these fault domains and update domains before moving into the high availability, into the load balancer. Configure multiple virtual machines in a availability set. Means if this is my availability set A, if I do configure two virtual machines, minimum two virtual machines, okay, then this ensures me 99.95% of an availability. Okay, how Azure behaves for it or Microsoft behaves it, if they are part of the same availability set, the maintenance activity will not go together at any cost on both the machines. So if this hardware needs to be maintained under maintenance, this will never go. Means Azure is having such a mechanism. If I'm having a 4 rack servers, then it will put the VMs in a scale set such a fashion like a 1 3 2 4. Okay, means in first go 1 and 3 will go in a maintenance, in second go 2 and 4 will go in maintenance, and whenever I create an availability set, I do create availability set in this rack and in this rack. So if you look at the, if we have availability set in this fashion, trust me, no VM means no service in the skill set will go down. Okay, you take any circle availability set, I have it, availability set is there like this, availability set is there, means it will maintain the availability of the system at any given point of time. Even worst case scenario, if there is something needs on a larger scale, Azure automatically do relocate the VM to the another hardware. Okay, but it will ensure the availability. Make sense, guys? If you do remember availability set, simply go ahead and create an availability set, and we used this feature before as well. Okay, so simply create an availability set. I do say BPS RG and I say my availability set for some services. Okay, so now you can say DB prod or DB Oracle prod. Okay, a set 01. Now it will automatically will take care of your file domain and update domain, and you need not to worry. Only when creating a VM, you need to select the availability set option for VM's placement. That's it. So configure multiple virtual machines in a availability set. Configure each application tier into separate availability set. It says application tier. What application tier is? I will say this is my VNet, and these are my different subnets. Okay, doesn't matter. Okay, how many you have it. Now what it says, if you have an active directory or AD servers, then put them in a availability set. Okay, 01. Now another hand, you have some infra servers like a password change server. Okay, my RD gateway or a terminal server or a jump server. You have a WSS server or you have a print server, anything, right? then you should put in a availability set 2. Similarly, you have a database, you should put in a separate, and you have an application servers in a separate availability set. So mean is you should put the different applications and different availability set. Broader example, I will come to the database. Okay, I'm having a 2 flavors of the database. One is an Oracle, another is a SQL Server. Now you must typically put both the databases into the separate availability set, both. Okay, now in Oracle also you have a prod, you have a dr, you have a test, whatever. You should put every pair of this database into separate availability set. Okay, now even in Oracle prod databases, the databases are used for 5 different apps. Okay, because if you have 5 databases, do typically will be used for the 5 different applications. So you should create availability set for all 5 applications separately. Is that clear, guys? Any confusion? And in any given of scenario, trust me, on nowhere, no hardware will go at the same time, and your availability will be as per availability set. Any question, guys? Anything? Please let me know. This should be good, I believe. Okay. Now combine a load balancer with availability set. We have seen it. Okay, how to attach a load balancer with your VMs in availability set. You manage disk with the virtual machine. Okay, yesterday we discussed use the managed disk. If you remember, we were discussing on a storage part. Okay, and if we are using a disk from below container, then it becomes unmanaged. If we are using on disk, okay, if I'm using disks from here, then this becomes a managed disk. Please do remember. Okay, this becomes a managed disk. Now I can create other disks. Okay, other disk as I did create it yesterday. Trust me, this is my managed disk 01. Okay, irrespective of which region where you are creating next in encryption, you can put into the networks. So this becomes a controlled access. Okay, means we are putting a control granular, means with a kind of a shared access signature, but here we will not have a key, but is another type of the controlled access. Go to the advanced and review and create. I'm not going to create the disk, but that this disk becomes a managed disk. Okay, coming to update and fault domains, as we have already discussed it, I will just read out the definition. If any question is still you have it, please let me know. Update domain allows Azure to perform incremental or rolling upgrade across a deployment during a planned maintenance. Only one update domain is rebooted at a time. One update domain. Fault domain are a group of virtual machines that share a common set of hardware switches that share a single point of failure. VMs in availability sets are placed in at least 2 fault domain. Okay, so means we have an update domain and fault domain, and these are two typical sets or a component for the availability set. Okay, this is what we were discussing just by drawing another picture where we were having availability set and all. This picture we were drawing. So if you look at a fault domain, Okay, if you look at an availability set, okay, this is how the picture is. Now if your fault domain is going for some maintenance, doesn't matter, this rack or this fault domain is available to me. Or if nothing is there, some VMs goes down here or here, means as per availability set, it is updated, is available for me. And as per update domain, as part of the maintenance, as both are part of the same availability set, will not be rebooted at the same time. Is that clear, guys? Any question? Okay, similarly we have discussed on availability zone as well. So this is nothing but is an unique physical location in our region, as we have discussed. If I look at this, what happened? Okay, means if I have a region and this becomes my availability zone. Azure do maintain the standards minimum 3 AGs in any region. AWS goes with 2 and greater than 2. Okay, equal to and greater than 2 availability zone, and 6 availability zone are there in US East, which is called in North Virginia. Okay, includes data centers with independent power, cooling and networking. So as you look at typical this presentation of this PPT, now this is 3 different physical locations. Definitely they are having a 3 different power sources, 3 different cooling mechanism, protect from data center failure. In this case, if any of my availability zone goes down, my availability is not impacted because same set of resources are available in another availability zone. Combines updates and a fault domains. Now this availability zone even combine my availability set, means the update and the fault domain. Reason being, when I create an availability set, it gets created in one of the availability zone only, means the data center. Okay, provides 99.99% of SLA. Now look at my availability set provides 99.95 and availability zone provides my 99.99% of an SLA. Reason being, at any given point of time, in any given point of time, if I'm having a within availability zone level failure, my other availability zone will automatically take the load or a traffic from the unused or the down availability zone. Scaling concepts, vertical scaling and horizontal scaling. Did we discuss this or not? I believe we discussed this, right? Horizontal and vertical scaling, what happens in each, right? Did anyone remember, guys? So yes or no, please confirm if anyone do remember. Otherwise I will explain once again. Okay,
No, better you can explain.
okay, yeah. So now we have an scaling, vertical scaling and horizontal scaling. Vertical scaling means scale up and scale down. Okay, it's the process of increasing or decreasing power to a single instance of a workload, usually manual. Okay, another is scale out and scale in, the process of increasing or decreasing the number of instances of a workload. Frequently this is an automated process. Now look at, this is my VM. Okay, now how I want to scale up, how I want to scale up. Now you tell me one thing, okay? If this is my, let's say, typical on-prem environment, and this is using two CPU and 8 GB of RAM. Now resources are lying under the threat. Okay, there is a challenge. Okay, now this needs to be increased. Now what you will do, you will make it 4 and you will make it 16 GB, okay, of RAM. This called as an upscaling. Okay, scale up, scale up. Now after some time you felt it, my resources are under the utilization. You went back to the previous configuration of 2 CPU and 8 GB of RAM, and this called as a scale down. So very simple. If I say my resource are getting increased, that is called scale up. If my resource are getting a decrease, that is a scale down. Okay, but this task happens manually because system needs a reboot and there is a downtime involved with. In another way, as part of an auto scale, okay, as part of an auto scale, I do say whenever this my virtual machine, okay, is going 80% of the CPU utilization for 5 minutes, okay, for 2 iterations, means the total 10 minutes, then add one more VM similar like we have the existing VMs with the same capacity, same instance time, same configuration. If I'm doing a plus addition, this called an scale out. Okay, and if I'm doing, let's say, after 1 hour, 1 day, this CPU utilization is coming 40% and my condition says remove one instance. Okay, this called an scale in. Is clear, guy? Any doubt? What is scale up? What is scale down? What is scale out? What is scale in? What is a vertical? What is a horizontal? Means in vertical, the same instance keep growing, whereas in horizontal, new instance will get added to the configuration. Is that clear, guys? Any question?
Yeah, it's okay, fine.
On top of this one, load balancer should be configured, right?
Yes.
Okay. But in load balancer, how it will be updated that, like how the load will be distributed across the nodes?
Once this will come right during a health probe, right? Wrong.
Right. In health probe we will define that.
Health probe be defined, right? And once it get added, it will add it into the backend pool, right? Wrong.
Right.
Once already for in the backend pool, only the server needs to be added. Health probe is already there. Load balancer rule is already there. So based on the rule defined, it will automatically start sending the traffic to this or stop sending if the instance is getting removed, right? Wrong. Again, based on the health probe.
Okay.
Right?
The scale out, scale in will define in health probe.
Yeah, that time metrics we will define, right? How, see, how we want to increase it. How we want to increase the instance. Got my point? We say 80%, that becomes a metric. So whenever CPU utilization will go high, greater than 80%, right? Wrong. In scaling policy, we will define addition or deletion. Okay. In scaling policy, we will define the addition or deletion, but to whom the load balancer will send the traffic, that will be defined by health probe. Is that clear? No.
Yes, sir. But here, which one will comes under vertical and horizontal? Scale up,
Okay.
scale in vertical.
No, scale up, scale down is a vertical. Let's say now I'm having my one laptop with what we call one CPU, 4 GB RAM. If I want to make it 2 CPU, 8 GB RAM, what I need to upgrade it, right? Wrong.
Right.
That's a scale up. Okay.
So you meant to say in the same system, whenever we add resource, that is called vertical.
Vertical. In typically in on-prem, whenever some RAM is less, right, on our database servers, what we ask to increase the RAM, right? Wrong.
Right. We increase the RAM.
You have never seen to spread the node, to add the
Right.
node, right? Wrong.
Yeah. Yes.
So this becomes vertical.
Okay.
But when there is a more load on your rack system, what you do? You add a node, right? Wrong.
Yes.
2 node, 3 node, 4 node,
Right.
right? Wrong.
Right.
You do that way, right? Wrong. So that becomes horizontal. Make it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So horizontal, vertical. Now scale sets. This is auto scale set. Is scale set deploys a set of identical VMs, means same type of VM. Whatever I'm using this VM, same kind of VM will only get added to the configuration. Okay, it will not be a different one. No pre-provisioning of VM is required, means whenever it should not the case here that we will keep spinning the instances and keep the ready for some kind of a immediate work. No, automatically skill set based on the matrix defined will use the addition or deletion. As demand goes up, VMs are added. If you look at, as demand goes up, VMs are added. As demand goes down, VMs are removed. The process can be manual, automated, or both combination of both. But we do typically use only the automated process of it. Okay. Implementing is skill sets. Okay. Now instance count, number of VMs in the skill set. Okay. 0 to 1000. So yesterday we were discussing how many instance can be behind the load balance, or some question was there, right? Yesterday. So it says 1000. Okay, AWS it was 1000, I was aware, but this I was not sure. But this is a 1000 instance. Okay, VM, how many we can add it? Instance size, the size of each virtual machine in a scale set. Azure Spot instance, unused capacity at a discounted rate. We ideally do not use it. Use managed disk. Enable scaling beyond 100 instance. Okay. Coming to auto scale, this is a rule I will be coming to. This says minimum 2 instances should be there at any point of time to serve my request, okay, or to sustain the current workload. And maximum can go up to 5 instances. Max can go up to 5 instances, and based on the metric we have defined, even if after reaching the 5 instance, still my CPU utilization, memory utilization, disk utilization, storage utilization, user connection, any matrix, I mean, is even on higher means beyond the threshold values, but there will not be any addition greater than the 5. 5 becomes my hard limit. But if you can modify this limit, okay, you can modify this limit. So define rules to automatically adjust the capacity. Scale out, increase the number of VM instances. Scale in, reduce the number of VMs in the set. Schedule events to increase or decrease at a fixed time. Reduced monitoring and optimized performance. And implementing auto scale. Define a minimum, maximum, and default number of VM instances. Create more advanced skill set with scale out and scale in parameters. So how we define it? Okay, so manage this. Okay, I said I was not going. Okay, virtual machine scale set. Okay, now if we look at and we create a virtual machine, okay, I will put into the resource group virtual machine set name BPS auto asset skill set, or skill hyphen set. Okay, in this case I will say auto, where we want to deploy it. Availability zone none, or we can use the availability zone feature as well. Okay, depending on our requirement. Orchestration mode, if you look at uniform, optimize for large scale stateless workload with identical instances. Flexible is grayed out. If you look at flexible is grayed out. What kind of an image we need? Because yesterday I did created using Red Hat Linux, so same is selected. What kind of an instance you needed? I say my instance is let's say B2S this. Okay, now I will put my password. Okay, now it is asking me, if you remember yesterday it was not giving me this option when I created full line. Save up to 49%, yeah, definitely, and I will use this. Okay, this is, if you look at it, the same kind of a screen apart from this skill set name and the orchestration mode. Rest things remains the same. Okay, now disk, whatever disk premium I'm using it. Next, networking, if you look at, it's asking the same set of information from me as well. So I say network interface. Okay, create new ASG. Okay, next is scaling. This is an important. This is an important. Okay, apart from remains same thing. How many instance at initial count I should be? Okay, if I create one instance will get created. If I say two will get created. If I say three will get created. Now scaling policy means how we want to scale up. I say manual and custom. The moment I say the custom scaling, minimum number of instances, I say it should be 2. Maximum number of instances, I say let's say 3, because I want to modify later. Now CP threshold percentage means 75%. Duration in minutes, I don't want for this much time. Value should be 5 and 60. I will keep 5. Number of instance to increase. If you say this by one instance will get spin up. If I say two instance will get spin up. Okay. this is my scale out policy. This is my scale out policy. If I look at scale in policy, whenever my CPU utilization goes beyond 25%, below 25%, sorry, then it will remove one instance. Now, diagnostics, I say enable it. Once I say enable it, will ask me my workspace name. So I do not need it. Okay. Now, scale in policy. Default balance across availability zone and fault domains, then delete. Newest VM balance across availability zone, then delete the newest created VM. Oldest, so this is a policy we need to define. If my scale in and scale out happens, so whether this instance should go get deleted or this should get deleted. Okay, that is what is an this option is. Next is the management. Now upgrade mode, I have kept it management. If want, use it storage account. If not, leave it. Okay, this all the steps remains typically like we were having for the normal VM. Health is enable application health monitoring. Okay, guys, can I use for this? I will use the Linux instance. Okay, is that fine, right? And I will show you why that I am doing it. I will say Red Hat. Okay, I'm using with this purpose. I will show you. Okay, now I will say the next disk. This all remains same. Health, advanced. Now for this I want to put in a custom data. I want to put in a custom data. Okay, for the custom data I'm having a my bootstrap script. Okay, I will use this script. Okay, I say next tags as usual, next review, and next created. Guys, any question? Okay, apart from scaling option, if you look at, there is nothing apart from that. Okay, is simple the VM creation. Okay, let it get created. Okay, in the meantime we are already under the last. Okay, then we look the extensions. Okay, these extensions are nothing but kind of plugins. Okay, we know plugins. Okay, or we can call it an agent. Okay, but this is a plugin. Okay, virtual machine extensions, custom script extensions, desired state configuration and demonstration of custom script extensions. For anything you want to configure, deploy, you need an agent. Like yesterday we were looking for one agent to be deployed for the backup purpose on on-prem environment. That is nothing but an agent. Okay, extension. So extensions are small applications that provide post deployment VM configuration and automation tasks. Okay, managed with Azure CLI, AWS PowerShell, Azure Resource Manager templates, and Azure Portal. Bundled with a new VM deployment or run against an existing. Okay, we will use with existing, and then I will tell you whenever I create the new VM at the VM creation time. Different for Windows and Linux as per the operating system, and custom script execution. This is an extension. Script can be simple or complex. Extensions have 90 minutes to run, so define time. Double check dependencies to ensure availability. Account for any errors that might occur. Protect encrypt sensitive information. Now, if I will show you that in a practically. Okay, so this is our DST or DSC, Agile State Configuration, to install any extension using a PowerShell or a script. So if you look at is configuration, IIS install node localhost, Windows feature is IIS, install is present, name is web servers. So this is nothing but a configuration block have a name. This name. Node blocks defines the computers or VMs that you are configuring, local host or the remote host. Resource blocks configure the resource and its properties. What is the resource is? There may be built-in configuration resources, and we can have a custom as well. And with verify the web feature is available on a virtual machine. We have already seen it by installing a web server feature. Create a PowerShell script file to install the web server. Typically like this. Configure an extension in the portal to run the script. Verify the web server features was installed. Okay. So in this, did you try it yesterday? I gave you 2 homeworks. Who tried that option? Did anyone try that? There was 2 tasks assigned. Okay. So one task is create a PowerShell script file to install the web server. Okay. See if you can do it. Okay. And then the lab module, whatever we have with the virtual machine. So by this time, my resource should be available. Okay. If I go to the resources, BPS skill sets. Okay. Now how you want to see what are my machines are? Inside this should come instances. Yeah. So if you look at, I gave the name of BPS auto skill set, and by default it is taking on name. Okay, the complete name. If I go to VM, if I go to my virtual machine, if you look at my virtual machine, here you are not finding anything, right? Because this instance are there in a skill set. Okay, these instances are there in the skill set. Okay, now based on the properties, for this instance, okay, we can monitor the scaling for this particular auto scaling group. Okay, instances we have seen, this top 4-5 properties remains as usual like any resource. Networking, if you look at what is allowed here. Now if you want to do any stuff on this, what you need to do, overview. Okay, this is my IP, right? This is my IP. Where is my load balancer? Okay, I need to take my load balancer. Okay, so if I go back to my networking here also, load balancer should have it. Where is gone? Outbound rules. Okay, let me log into it. Okay, if I see not coming. Okay, let me take duplicate tab. Okay, so instances. R. We have from virtual network. Let me add one rule from any to any on any port. Okay, and allow any port. Okay, so outbound is there. This is 3 networking. So my any port, right, is done. Go to the skill set. Okay. So if this particular CPU utilization on this particular instances goes up, then the instance will automatically get added. If the CPU utilization on both the instances goes below 25%, one instance will get automatically deleted. Now, let's come to one more thing. Let me do you one manual scale. Okay, let me do you manual scale for it. Okay, how manual scale? Now, let's say I do feel I have only one instance requirement, only one instance requirement, and my max instance can go up to 4. Okay, and the default is 2. I need to change the default as well. Okay, and if I say save, then in the time duration which I have defined it, okay, it will automatically delete one instance from the configuration now. Okay, it will delete now one instance from the configuration, because now my requirement is only minimum 1, max is a 4. So I have modified the hard limit for it. Okay, and during the some high availability applications, this feature is being used very effectively. Okay, and once they understand they are getting an alert for high CPU utilization and the max capacity has been reached. When I say the max capacity, this 4 capacity has reached, they will go ahead and they will make it 8 and save it, so that my system is not impacted. Is that clear, guys? Any doubt? So look at here, right? So look at now, automatically I have not deleted, right? I have not deleted. Okay, it has automatically started deleting one instance. Is that clear?
Yes.
Now again go back. I say my minimum instance requirement is 3. Okay, default is 3. Now what it becomes? My minimum instance requirement becomes 3. This is a hard limit. Now the moment I say save, again this rule will come back, do a health for it, and it will check the policy, this rule. Okay, because this rule clearly says my instance limit minimum should be 3 with respect, okay, if my CPU utilization is greater than 75% or less than 25%, doesn't matter for me. Is that clear, guys? Any question? In some time, you will see 2 more instances are coming up. Okay. So the properties state test 1 out of 4 is succeeded. So it will keep changing. Now, by the time this comes up, okay, by the time this comes up, okay, because it will take, so if you look at, okay, 3 minimum, right, is coming up. No.
It is
Network.
just only adding, sir, without increasing load, or else how it will be?
So we have not put any load, right? So see,
Right.
still we are going with the scaling, means this always you need to modify, right? Wrong.
Yeah.
Based on this, automatically action is happening. This is not based on
Okay.
current
Minimum.
load, minimum and max limit, right? Wrong. Desired. Minimum, maximum, and default order and desired one. Okay. Now, whenever this utilization goes high, automatically it will take in effect.
Right.
Right.
But we have here you have defined rules, sir. When the CPU utilization
Yes.
greater than 75, then only the resource should add, right?
Only add. Here we are doing manually for the instance limit perspective. This means in this current case, even if your CPU utilization is less than 25%, it will keep minimum 3 instance. Got my point?
Okay. Okay.
Even your CPU utilization in current case, let's scenario 8 instances, even CPU utilization greater than 75%, it will not increase any instance until unless you increase this capacity to 9 or 10. Got my point? Make
Yes.
sense? Now,
So these resources will get created in the same availability set?
same availability, skill set. Same skill set.
A skill set in the sense, I mean to say availability, like data center, same data center, right? Same rack.
See, that I'm not sure. This will go in availability zone. If you look at RISE, it will go in 3 availability zone. Okay. And in the same availability zone, if the instance counts, let's say 3, then it has to put 2 instances in each availability zone. In coming to 2 instances, it will keep 2 instances in separate rack. Okay.
Okay.
But if in every availability zone, let's say you are having a 5 instances and there are 2 rack, then in one instance it will have 3, in one rack it will have 2, right? Wrong.
Right.
So depends on the distribution, right? So now load balancer, now add a load balancer. Now I will add a load balancer or select an existing load balancer, Azure load balancer. The value must not be, should I create it here? Okay, so let me create the LB from here. Okay, I say create. BPS auto scaling LB. Okay, I'm taking a public with the basic. Okay, public IP name LB PIP. Okay, next tags, review and a create. Okay, let me refresh. Here should be more instances now, 3 instances, right? We have a 3 minimum, right? 3 minimum, 3 instances. Okay, okay, now look at here. Okay, again I go back to my networking, add load balancing, Azure load balancer. It has found my load balancer, backend pool, use existing, create new. I want to create a new, and this is my BP, right? Backend pool. Say save. Now all thing will come like that. Now in backend pool, earlier I added a virtual machine, right? If you remember from our last session. Here, instead of the virtual machines, I will be adding the skill set. Is that clear, guys? Okay. VM skill set cannot use a basic SKU load balancer when single placement group property is false. Please use a standard SKU. Okay. Go to my load balancer. Okay. I will just change it. Okay. Is this here? Okay. So if I go to configuration or properties, basic, just a minute, front end, backend pool, will help probe. Oh, okay, no, not here. Okay, so go here. So we need a load balancer with the standard SKU. Okay. So I should say no John redundant. Not working. Any question in the meantime, please come on. Okay. Any question? Okay. So if there is an existing, we can use the existing backend pool. Otherwise, we can use the our backend pool. Okay. So LB BP. Say save. Go to the load balancer. Now again you will find a same option here, right? I have a front end IP. Okay, I'm having a backend pool. In backend pool, I need to add what virtual network I'm using. This virtual network, what NIC I'm using, what IP address I'm using, what IPv I'm using. I'm using a virtual machine or a scale set. Here I will use my virtual machine scale set. Okay, and here what, how to take an IP. So earlier, if you remember, we added a virtual machine and the IP addresses. Now we are using a virtual machine scale set option. This virtual machine scale set is having a number of virtual machine instances in this pool. Okay, virtual machine scale pool. Saved, right? Wait, showing not. I take the public IP of my load balancer. What happened? Okay. We do not have any, only the virtual machine scale set instances are there. We do not have any health probe and the load balancing rule as of now. Okay, so backend pool, health probe, add in a health probe. You know the health probe TCP port 80 on the LB rule. This is same typically like we used in our load balancer. This is the same load balancer. Okay, once we add it into the auto skill, only the adding the virtual machine, the skill set becomes a different option. Load balancing rule, add a rule, LB rule, front end port 80, same port 80. What is my backend pool? This is my backend pool. What is my health probe? This is my health probe. And TCP reset is disabled. Floating IP is enabled. TCP reset is also enabled. Source destination checks not needed for me. So we have a LB rule, we have a health probe, we have a backend pool. Not added. should be this only. Okay, so how to log in now to my instances? No traffic is allowed. My script, okay. My firewall will be, this is a RHEL 8, right? My firewall will be off on this. Okay, my firewall will be off on. Otherwise, this is remains the same. Okay, this remains the same. Now you need to modify the scaling for it based on your requirement, low limit, high limit. Okay, and then you need to modify this threshold values. Okay, and then it will keep automatically based on the load on the system up and down. Okay, next comes as an extension. Okay, if you look at in current the extensions, there is no extension, right? There is no extension. If I look at there is no extension, I want to add an extension. What extension you want typically? Okay, it depends basically what we want to achieve it. Okay, what we want to achieve it. If I want to install Sentinel-1 Linux extension, okay, I will select the extension and I will say na create. Okay, it will get created for me. Okay, Linux agent version define. Now this is a site token, okay, which will be available to install this particular agent on my instance. Okay, on my instance. If you say create, this instance should get pushed in, provided my key is valid. Okay, my key is valid. Another way to install this, let's say I want to install backup agent, or rather I will say I need to have my backups, okay, configured for this instance. In this, my RSV is my recovery service vault, and I want to do a configuration. And in configuration, what I want to configure? I want to configure virtual machine. Say backup. Now it will ask me to add a virtual machine. And in this case, if you find I do not have any virtual machine, I do not have any virtual machine, because those are my skill set instances. Okay, so I cannot move any patch any extension, any agent from here. If only what I can move from here, whatever kind of a resource are available here. Okay, if I go into the Azure stack and I say files, Microsoft, SharePoint systems, I can add, and further I need to download the agent, and we checked it yesterday. Then we need to deploy this particular agent on the target server, and this particular agent will have the SaaS token embedded with this software for this recovery service vault. Okay, now if I do create a virtual machine, if I do create a virtual machine, this virtual machine will have typically the many extensions. Okay, I say VM E01. I'm installing this, let's say, on a Windows server. Okay, similar like username, password. Okay, allow IP, I say fine, next disk. Okay, leave it like that. Now in management will come as an extension. Okay, management or yeah. Okay, so in advance we get an extension. Now extensions provide post deployment configuration and automation. Extensions select an extension to install. What extension I want to install? Okay, let's say this particular extension is being used for Azure Performance Diagnostics. I will add this extension at the time of my VM deployment. At the time of my VM deployment. Now storage account, I will go to my storage account. Okay, see, I believe this is with you, but let me try with this only. Okay, this is my storage account. Okay, this is my key.
But why do we need this storage account, sir? To create a virtual machine?
We are installing an extension. Okay, as of now.
But you said like when we spin the new virtual machine, this extension will deploy, right?
Correct.
So you mean to say like the storage will work as a library to store this information?
No, so try to understand. We are deploying here Azure Performance Diagnostics, right? Wrong. So where
right.
it will store the diagnostic data? Getting me? See,
Okay.
I'm installing this extension, and this extension is Azure Performance Diagnostic. So where it will store the data?
Okay. Instead of storing at the server level, at the storage level, the data will be
Yes,
stored.
that's what, right? If server level is not the ideal solution for it. Okay, we are working in cloud, so it should be available for my diagnostic team, right? Wrong, or my security team. And let's say my this return number to install this is 15. Is a, there will be some format, right, for this. Some,
I don't think so. This is mandatory optional parameter, right?
but our copy paste, yeah, optional only. Okay, it's optional only. Okay, so I say okay. So this means this particular parameter, this particular agent is being deployed at the time of VM creation. Is that clear? And similar, like depending on our requirement, we can install any numbers. And I say review and create. Okay. Now one extension I will deploy for my backup. Okay. So because we have extensions as well, right, for this. Azure extensions. This we have already installed the verify the web server. This PowerShell script, I will leave it up to you. Okay. Just try this script to install a web server, 2-line command, simple, and the web server will be installed. Okay. Verify the web server. We have installed a IIS role. If you remember on our web servers, this is the same. Now, I will go to my recovery service vault. Okay. In my recovery service vault, okay, let's complete also. So I can show you both the screen by navigating forth and back. Any question in the meantime? Just one more thing, how many is running in my auto scaling set? I believe I reduced to 1, right? Yes, so it should be 1 instance now. Okay.
Sir, meanwhile, just one question.
Yes, please.
Here now we added the VMs to the load balancer, right?
Yeah.
So suppose if you want to give the SLB to the client, how do we give it that?
Sorry, come
Or a
again.
load balancer we have configured, right?
Yes.
So if any application deployed on that VMs,
Instances. So two way. One, deployed on a instances in a skill set. Another on a VM. Okay.
okay.
So on which you are talking?
No, SLB. I'm talking about SLB. Load balancer, I mean, right?
Okay.
Load balancer, will we give the load balancer URL to the client or else?
Yes. No, load balancer URL definitely, right?
So how will I get that load balancer URL?
So
just we have IP address, right?
So if you have a DNS, then you will get in a DNS. Okay. So you can configure. So let me load balancer, right? Wrong.
Yeah, we
now,
have configured this.
This
one,
is a load balancer, right? Wrong.
Yes.
As of now, I'm using a plain IP. Right?
Okay.
Wrong.
Yeah, public IP.
Now, if we need, we can configure this public IP with our DNS also, right? Our DNS means all the requests coming to the DNS will be resolved. Got my point? If you remember, this session hosted John, right? We discussed all the hosted John, parent John, child John for the DNS, right? In networking.
Okay.
So
actually, I missed 2 sessions.
okay, so you need to go through the recording. Then we can have our custom domain, right? Wrong. See, trust me, this will not be the IP to the customer. Okay, that will go as
we
an
won't share
DNS
this
name.
IP with the customer then.
Sorry,
we won't share this IP with customer.
We typically, so in customer environment, we always go with the customer name, right? Wrong.
Right.
See, oracle.com.
Right.
We will not give the IP of the oracle.com, right? Wrong. Where that particular service is running. Okay. In that case, this will be typically the internal load balancer, right? Wrong. and the
Okay.
load balancer will having a public DNS name. Got my point? And
Okay.
public DNS name will be given to the customer.
Okay.
In
Public
current
DNS.
scenario, we will give this. Let's say current example, we will give this only. And if you remember earlier session when we doing a load balancer, we were using only this IPs to take out the request served from the different VMs, right?
Right. With this IP only we have tested.
Yes, because I do not have a DNS name, right? That is a reason for it. So this becomes my client address, if you say this way.
In real-time environment, you mean to say we have to integrate with the DNS.
DNS. And if you go into the networking, I will, okay, let's wait. So now go to the resources. Okay, if go to the networking, right, wrong. Go to the networking. Now this depends, right, wrong. This.
Okay. DNS server.
Now, if I'm running a custom DNS, my custom DNS IP will be here. Got my point? And this my custom IP, if can resolve, then I can go with the zone, right? DNS zones. Got my point? I will create a DNS zone. That's we covered. I believe you missed this session. So we will add this zone here. Got my point? So
Okay.
automatically this IP, this address we will get to the customer, not to that. Okay. But in current case, we will give this IP if you'll ask me. Okay. Now coming to the virtual machine extensions. This is my virtual machine extension I installed. If you look at here extensions, this is Azure Performance Diagnostic, right, Trang? This is what we installed, right, Trang? This is we only installed, right? Guys.
Yes.
Now, look at, I need to back up this. So I need to go with the recovery service vault. Okay. This I can do for this backup from here. Okay. I can enable a backup from here, or I can enable the backup from the recovery service vault. Please remember. Okay. I say select existing. This is my recovery service vault. Okay. And I say default policy, and I say enable backup. Got my point? It will do the same agent installation from this screen as if I do from my recovery service vault, backup, Azure virtual machine. Okay. Add virtual machine. Here I will get one virtual machine. Okay. Virtual machine. And enable backup means when you are enabling the backup from the recovery service vault, another you are enabling the backup from VM itself. Got my point, guys?
But one point, sir, here both are same or different?
Both are same. They only both are same. Whether you do the backup enabling, from the specific VM, or you enable the backup from the recovery service vault, is the same only. Okay. It works on a push and pull. Now, if I enable my backup from VM, then it will pull the agent from my recovery service vault with credentials. If I enable the backup from my recovery service vault, it will push the agent to the VM. Is that clear?
No, I didn't get you. Can you repeat, sir?
Okay.
I missed you.
Okay. Okay. This is my recovery service vault. Okay. And this is my VM. Okay. My backup storage, all my backups, reports, backup storage, my backup schedules are there in the RSV, right? Wrong. Is that clear? I can enable my backup from recovery service vault. I can enable my backup from VM. Is that clear? Now, when I say from here, enable backup for this VM, means it will push the details to VM as an you can say DSC, Digital State Configuration Script. You can say an agent. It will push the extension here to deploy on the VM. So this is push. Got my point? Now same thing, if I enable the backup from VM, this VM, it says pull, because I need to install backup on this VM. Backup will be installed, created in this RSV, but it will pull the details for the extension from recovery service vault with required key and storage details. So this becomes a pull. Is that clear?
Okay, got it.
But
What?
in both the cases, it will install the same agent. Yeah, go ahead.
So, once we enabled, why we are getting here still enable option? Once we from the VM
So
side,
it
you
was
have
because see if you if
okay,
you look
okay, you
at
got
right,
that
it was not completely done. So it failed right here.
right. Okay, okay,
It failed right. So it
Mhm.
will have failed because what it says conflict. If you look at
Right.
what it says another operations, just I showed the option from both ends. That's only the thing.
Okay,
You cannot enable it. It obviously got failed right
okay.
now.
And here the agent option, it is giving download, right? Will it we have to
Which
do
one?
it manually or else?
And so this is not agent details. This is the deployment details download. Means if you want to debug where what went wrong, right? Wrong.
Uh-huh. No, somewhere I saw that agent download option.
That was, I will show you once again. Okay, I will show you that once again. That isn't a deployment. I will show you if you are installing a extension. Okay,
Right.
I will show you that. See, for this we are not doing anything. We are just showing source and details. What it is telling here,
Unavailable.
unavailable.
Azure policy.
Why? Because both ends it got conflict, right? Wrong. We enabled from both ends, right? Wrong. This time it will be, so if you look at these details, right? Just wait for the extensions. It says warning, initial backup is in pending. Okay, default policy, my recovery service vault. Okay, I say backup, virtual machine, and I say add. Means the backup extension has already been deployed on the machine. There is no machine left without the agent. So if you look at my recovery service vault is having information for all the targets which has been configured for backup. Is that clear? I have configured a backup. So if you look at for Azure virtual machine, there are two items for the backup here. Okay, two items for the backup. Okay, this is yesterday's one. Okay, this is today's one. If I say here initial backup or backup now backup will start for it. Is that clear? And that extensions which was showing as unavailable, if during this backup, if that get fixed, it should be deployed one. I will take the virtual machine. So if you look at right, it succeeded, right? Guys,
So will it take only that extension backup or else?
see this extension, this particular piece is having. So if you look at what is this, what is permissions, what is my subscription, and this becomes my complete thing. Okay, so if I say here is kind of my SaaS only. So this is having complete details about this extension. Extensions get deployed. Okay, now if you look at, we have only two extension, right? Wrong as of now. Now third thing, this will happen anyway. I say log analytics workspace. Okay, now I want to run certain queries, certain data I want to store related to this VM. Okay, so what I will do, I will create a log analytics workspace, and I will add this log analytics workspace. Go to the East US. Okay, next pricing tier, no free pay as you go, review and create, and create. So if you look at for this, currently there are two extensions, you can call it an agent, are available on this virtual machine. Okay, now I will deploy third agent, okay, for monitoring purpose. Okay, third agent from the monitoring purpose. Now similar like, either if that extension is available here, I can add the extensions directly from here. Okay, directly from here, or I can push the agent, from here. If you look at my virtual machines, currently there is no virtual machine here, right? Currently there is no virtual machine here. When I say no, means not connected. Now I will say, the moment I say connect, at the same time it will start deploying the agent or the extensions to my VM. Okay, and all the agents installed on a VM will be listed here. Is that clear, guys? Any doubt? Let me know if there is any question.
This log analytics workspace only collect the VM's information.
Logs, yeah.
Logs of what?
Anything. Logs for anything. I can connect logs from AWS, from Azure, from anywhere it can come here. Okay.
Okay, I mean to say, like a DB monitoring also will do this.
No, so DB monitoring. So monitoring, then the monitoring part comes for the Azure monitoring, but
Azure
logs
monitoring.
will come here.
Logs in the sense the server.
Azure monitor log. Azure monitor. The monitoring service is Azure monitor. Okay. But it stores their log somewhere, right? Wrong.
Right. No, log analytics
That is comes here. So this is kind of a repository. Okay, this is a repository for all the targets, where it can fetch certain details. Okay, when it was up, when it was down, what kind of instance. Means you can run simple SQL like queries as well here. Okay, if you look at, right, this is simple SQL like queries. Getting me?
Okay.
Now if you want to check whether, because until unless my system is not reporting to here, I cannot automatically shut down my instance. I cannot automatically start up my instance, because the data it will pick from the log analytics workspace. Make sense? So we'll come, because it's still connecting. So will come virtual machine. Okay. So if you look at this VM01 is this workspace, right? Wrong. Now, if I go to my VM, okay, where is the extension? So if you look at Microsoft monitoring agent has been deployed, right? Wrong? Is that clear?
Right.
So similar like we can deploy agents, or we call it an extension here, okay, to our virtual machines. Okay, that's what is being asked here. Now lab module 8, and for this, okay, for this I believe if you go back to your material, right, where I have given you the material, if you follow the document, I have given you a labs from GitHub. Okay, lesson 5 module 8 lab and review. You can go that particular 1 hour 2 hour lab step by step using a documentation, and you will be able to do the same thing, but I have done it here. Okay, deploy John Regiland, configure Azure virtual machines, scale compute and storage for Azure virtual machine, deploy John Regiland, configure Azure machine skill set, configure compute machine with storage skill set. Yeah, fine. So with this, we are done with virtual machine. Let me know if there is any question. And probably we can take a 15 minutes break, come back and start a new module post break. Okay. This is until now